Hey guys, welcome back to Mike's Virtual Garage. Today's going to be something a bit different. I've got my 2012 Volkswagen Jetta TDI in the garage today. If you follow me on Instagram, you notice that I did some service on the car last weekend, roughly a 30,000 mile service. So what I want to do today is kind of go over the history of this particular car, the service I did to it recently, some impressions I've had over the year of owning it, and then what's to come for it. So let's get some paperwork, some records, and let's go through the car together. Let's get to it. All right, guys, here we're in front of the 2012 Jetta TDI. What we're going to do today is go over a brief history in this particular car itself. I got some records in front of me. I own the car for right exactly a year. It's my very first TDI as well. So I'll give you guys some impressions about what I thought about the car over the year, and also serviceability. I did a 30,000 mile service last weekend. I'll go over that with you to let you know what I thought of that, how the German engineers have done with, the Mark 6 platform, and then future plans for the car. So let's get down to some numbers. All right, this particular car was sold new 2012 in Washington, D.C. It lived most of its life there. I looked at the Carfax. It's had all its services done up until it was bought back. Now, you might be asking, what was a buyback? What's that all about? I'm not going to go into what quote-unquote dieselgate is, but if you're interested in that, Google it. In essence, there was a emission scandal by Volkswagen in which there were a plethora of cars that were either bought back by Volkswagen or the owners kept them, fixed them, and then went about their merry way. So this is what I call a dieselgate car. This car likely ended up in the Silverdome parking lot in Detroit. I can't confirm that, but that is my assumption when it was bought back by Volkswagen in February of, I think, 2017. So I was always intrigued by the scandal itself and these cars in particular. So when I was looking for one, my local dealership had a ton of them on the lot, from Jettas to Golfs to a lot of Passats. And they were constantly coming in. This is about a year ago, and at this point, there really aren't that many out there for sale. But the dealership was really churning through these, getting them fixed, getting them back on the lot for sale, and I had a lot to choose from. I opted to choose this one. This one, of course, 2012. It's the loaded version with TDI with nav, and it's a DSG. Now, there were some manual cars out there I thought about looking into, but I thought, I've never owned a DSG, so why not? It's been very well to me, and I really enjoyed that part. So the car, like I said, about a year old, and the dealership did a lot of work to it when they purchased it. I'll go over a quick list of what they've done. This is a CPO car, of course. Of course, it was the emissions warranty. They said they did an external detail car, which the paint's okay. They did an okay job with that. New battery, of course, oil change. They replaced the trunk seal around the back of the trunk area there. New wiper blades, fuel filter, one tire in the rear, new front brake rotors, a left front wheel liner, a new wiper motor for the wipers, alignment, and they replaced also one of the batteries in the remotes. So I guess I test drove the car. I loved it. It was great. Super low mileage. It's only had about 22,000 miles on it when I got it. So that's super low mileage for a 2012. Like I said, it was maintained by the owner. The body's in okay shape. It was maintained properly. So that being said, I opted to purchase the car. And the passenger has been pretty much trouble-free. The only thing I came across when I think actually like a day after I got it, the check engine light came on when I was driving home from work, and I think they replaced the O2 sensor as part of the dieselgate fix on these cars. So it was a quick take in, and they just had to reset the light per a tech tip on the paperwork here. Other than that, the sunroof dial had to be replaced. That was broken. But aside from that, I have no more service records for the car. So that's actually a good thing. It was all maintained properly. I drove it, you think about the mileage, only about 9,000 miles. I've been working from home the past year, and due to the pandemic, so haven't driven this or the Audi that much this year. I do split driving between the two, especially with between gas prices and diesel prices. So it's been pretty reliable since I've owned it, and what I've driven of it. All right, so let's talk about some service. The car was almost at 30,000 miles, so opted to, of course, do the service myself. I looked at the manufacturer's recommendations for service at 30,000 miles. I followed that as much as I could. So that includes oil filter oil, rotate the tires, cabin air filter, and DSG, the transmission filter and fluid flush. So I did some research. I watched some videos on the car because I never, touched one of these cars before. So I'm very mechanically inclined, but I always want to make sure that I do my due diligence when working on something that I'm not familiar with. Even though it's a German car and I love those things, you never know. So watched a lot of videos. I was planning on doing a video on the service myself, but after watching the few I saw, there's no need to recreate the wheel with this one. So I just kind of documented what I was doing and wanted you guys some tips and pointers and just an overall general thought about what I thought on the service. So first thing was, of course, with the DSG service, I want to get the car up on jack stands. It's going to make serviceability a lot easier for the oil change and the transmission flush, and just makes our life easier. So we got that done. First thing was oil. I was very happy with how the oil changes on these cars. The filter is actually on top, underneath the engine cover. Super easy to get to. And the drain plug on the bottom was, right there, so no problem with that. Only thing, you gotta take the splash shield off underneath. I've owned 4 Volkswagens, but never had to service them. This is the first one I have like that, where I needed to remove any kind of splash shield. I love them, but there's a lot of bolts and stuff to take off, but no big deal. So I did that. Oil change was super easy. And then the cabin air filter, I saw a quick 3-minute video on that. That was lightning quick. Old one, I'll get a picture up here, it's pretty gross. The date on that was 2014, so I don't think it was changed a year ago when I got the car. But it may have been changed 10,000 miles, I don't know, or it might be original, who knows. But got that changed, that was pretty easy. And then it came down to doing the DSG Fluid Flush, and that was pretty simple. Followed a few videos on YouTube. Humble Mechanic has one, and also Paul from Deutsche Auto Parts has one as well. They were super helpful. I did get a kit from Deutsche Auto Parts with liquid moly fluid and the gravity fill method with, there's a tool that screws into the drain and fill plug hole in the transmission, then a tool that goes up top, then you just gravity fill the fluid, and you're done. So I got that from them. It came with a filter as well, and the sealing ring, and a crush washer for the drain plug. So doing that is pretty simple. You just remove the air box, remove the battery, and then the fluid, the filter is right there on top. So that was pretty painless to do. I'd recommend, if you're a decent DIY mechanic, that's really simple to do. And even with the fluid change, once you drain it, there are 2 drain plugs. There's one metal one, that's a 14 Allen, and then there's an 8mm. It's a plastic one. It's barely hand tight, and that will get all the rest of the fluid out for you. So you remove that, you put that back in, you fill it, and then I opted to put the drain plug back in because there is a level setting procedure you need to follow. So I did that, and then the level setting procedure, I don't have VADCOM or OBD11 for the car, so tech tip from a friend of mine who works at a dealership, use a thermal thermometer. So I got one of the laser thermometers, pretty much start the car up, let it warm up to about 35 C, and then I think between 35 and 40, and then you pull the drain plug, let the fluid come out until there's a steady drip, put it back in, then you're done. So it could be much easier than that. Even first time doing it, I felt very comfortable. and it was something that didn't take much time at all. So serviceability so far, pretty happy with. I won't have to do anything until 40,000 miles probably. That being, I'll do the fuel filter. It was done at 20,000, so I saw no need to do it again now. It's only 9,000 miles later. So we'll do that. One other thing I did was, while the car was up in the air, rotate the tires front to back. Again, that's something that I'm used to doing with the Audi for swapping snow tires on or anything else. So that was super easy. But other than that, I mean, the car's not needy at all. The past year has been very good with what I've driven. So I've been home a lot, so the car doesn't get too much use. But when I do use it, the transmission is great. The engine, the fuel economy is fantastic. I didn't drive one of these before they had the fix done. But I'm pretty happy with the mileage, and it's a fun car to drive, even though people think, oh, it's an automatic, not fun. But it is. It's a lot of fun, and I get a lot of joy about seeing, you know, how many miles till empty I have on this tank when I drive it. So pretty unique car. I really enjoy it, and this is going to be something that's going to be in the garage for quite a long time. So in terms of future plans for it, probably just be some service videos, or if anything comes up in between those, I'll, you know, might do a quick video, bring you guys along. But if you're considering getting one of these things, you know, everyone's got a different, you know, motive, or, you know, what they want for a car. A TDI might be something that you want to look at, depending on how much you drive and, you know, what your budget is. But I recommend these. They're a lot of fun, and they're people that have gotten, you know, a lot of mileage out of these things. 200,000 miles. I mean, not uncommon to hear about that. And this one's a kid. It's only got 29 and some change. So we've got a long way to go. And this one is ready to go hit the road again. And we will just see what happens in between now and 40,000 miles. So I want to thank you guys again for coming along today. As always, Instagram, I'm always posting stuff on there. Mike's Virtual Garage, follow me on there. And then we will just plan on seeing you guys in the next one. Hope you guys have a safe weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.